Hi, this is Asa, and welcome to my audio experience.
Remember, if the body can get sick, it can also get well. It's all about lifestyle, about the choices that we make every single day. Literally, you don't have to be stuck where you are. You can go to the next level with your health and with your life. So whatever you're dealing with, realize that we can make a change, but it all comes down to our choices. Let's kick it off and go with Dave. Hi, Dave.
Throughout the evening, and every time I wake up, I eat a lot of cookies or sweets. I would say I'm in fairly good shape. I'm 35. I'm not overweight or anything like that. I eat very well. I don't smoke. I don't drink. But, for the past maybe 10 years, since I've had this issue, I've had a few sleep stuff done. They've tried a CPAP. They've tried a dental device, and I just cannot sleep the night.
Okay. Well, a couple of things. Here's the deal when it comes to something like that. I mean, with cravings and with sweets, typically, obviously, blood sugar levels are not where they need to be in the body, and they're not stabilized, I guess is the best way to put it. And the other issue that you want to look at too are dopamine levels. Now, we're talking about brain chemistry when we start throwing around these terms. Dopamine is a brain chemical, and it really has to do, it's kind of that feel-good chemical. When dopamine levels are up, we feel good. And you eat chocolate, your dopamine levels go up. And so when they're up and they feel good, that's what you have to look at. You say, okay, what's causing that to really happen? What's causing that to be low, first of all, and what's causing your brain to need that? Well, a poor diet on a regular basis are one of the big deals. So that is something to look at. All right, so you're modifying your diet, getting plenty of good, lean quality proteins, low glycemic carbohydrates in the form of fruits and vegetables, and healthy fats, almonds, walnuts, cashews, avocados, that sort of thing. Those are all really important to eat on a regular basis. But you have to look at what levels and what brain chemicals are off, because sweet cravings can be dealing with blood sugar issues, but also thyroid conditions potentially, and then also dopamine levels. So putting all of that together on a regular basis is what matters. And that's what should be focused on, and that's what should be looked at. And I would get some blood testing done. Of course, they can do a urinalysis test for dopamine to see what the levels are. But getting that figured out a lot of times can be an issue. Now, you could just take an herbal, which is out there on the market, like Gymnema, which is one. And that can be looked at and worked with. But at the end of the day, the sweet cravings, mental type issues are typically where it's caused, and nutritional deficiencies. So getting to your doctor and have them take a look at that is typically one of the better ways to go. And that's what I would advise you, and talk with your doctor and get some testing done just to find out what the values are, and then you can get some research done to go from there. All right, 888-283-7272. And give us a call or go online. Whatever you're struggling with, realize if the body can get sick, it can also get well. Carl in Fort Worth, Texas says, eggs. He said, I've heard they're good for you, and I've heard they're bad for you. Can you please tell me once and for all, should I eat eggs? That's a great question. I mean, eggs, again, I think are very, very good for you. And now the American Heart Association has really come out with a pretty bold statement, and they're saying that 2 eggs every single day is actually good for heart health and cardiovascular health. They're some of the best protein sources, and the egg yolk itself has components in it like choline and lecithin. And they're extremely beneficial for the overall heart health and for your brain health. You know that choline and lecithin inside the egg yolk actually increases acetylcholine in the brain. And when that happens, it increases memory. It allows your brain to function at a better level, increases cognitive function. So great things can happen with those foods. I would look into those, because at the end of the day, eggs are phenomenal. And part of a diet, unless you've got some weird allergy to eggs, they are very, very good. Of course, kids do well with them, adults and the like. I think they need to be part of a steady diet. And if you're into exercise and all, they're great for muscle recovery. There's got a lot of great benefits from eggs. But eat them together. Don't split out the egg whites too often. If you do want to do a lot of the egg whites because you're concerned about some of the fat, or if you have a gallbladder issue or something, maybe split it up, but at least include some of the yolks in that, because getting those will help the digestion of the protein of the egg as well. 888-283-7272. Give me a call. We're going to go to Hank right now. Hi, Hank.
Question in reference to sleeping. I'm just trying to figure out if I take 2 Benadryls every night, and I have been for a long time now. I'm wondering if that's healthy or if it's okay to do that. It's just something to help me fall asleep, and that's just what I guess I've got sort of addicted to at this point.
Well, a couple of things on that. With sleep issues, first you got to figure out, regardless if it's CPAP or not, you have to figure out what brain chemicals are really being affected. And serotonin is one of the big ones. So serotonin is the one that keeps you asleep. So if you go to sleep but you can't stay asleep, a lot of times serotonin is kind of the blame. So you need to figure that out and then find out what your levels are. And then nutritionally, there's a lot you can do to support serotonin levels in the brain. And there's, of course, 5-hydroxytryptophan. Melatonin's been known to help for that. Pyridoxal 5-phosphate, P5P. All of those are very beneficial at helping support those levels. So that's what I would encourage you to look at, is to kind of check and see. And your doctor can check those. I mean, most times, if you've got sleep issues, they can use the sleep medications, which is pretty common, Ambien and the like, or a lot of times they will go with, just looking at regular antidepressant medications. And that's why people that they're not sleeping well, and a doctor will suggest an antidepressant. It's not because you're depressed per se, but they're looking to get those serotonin levels up where they need to be. And at that moment is where everything begins to shift and everything begins to change. So I would encourage you to look at that along the way for sure. 888-283-7272. Lines are open. Give me a call right now or go online. Let's go to Randy now. Hi, Randy.
I'm concerned and have want to get some remedy for a kidney function of effect. My creatinine is very high, and they say it's on the border of going to kidney failure. What do I take or do to improve that kidney function, to lower the creatinine reading? Right now, mine is 3.6, and I know the ordinary value should be less than 1.2 or something like that. Okay, I'm trying to find out things that I need to do to lower that.
Yeah, one of the big issues with kidneys and lowering that, a lot of times dehydration can be one of the main reasons the creatinine levels go up. But I would also look at your protein consumption and have a dietitian or nutritionist work with you on dietary protein that you put in on a regular basis. Cutting that down typically can support creatinine.
Want to turn back the clock 15 years and have more energy? This is Dr. Raisa telling you to just breathe with LiveO2. LiveO2 delivers the right amount of oxygen we need for optimal health. Go to liveO2.com. That's liveO2.com.
To find out more, connect with On Call Radio online at InShapeNetwork.com.
Get a new prescription for your life. Just call 888-283-7272. Let's go to Bob from Los Angeles, California. He writes, my mother just had her gallbladder removed. How can I keep this from happening to me? Well, getting your gallbladder removed is something you definitely don't want to do if you don't have to. And I always say, unless it comes down to the wire and it is life-threatening, don't get anything taken out of your body that doesn't need to be removed. So for you, a couple of things you want to do. With gallbladder, you obviously want to make sure what the gallbladder does. Let's talk about what it does first. What it does is it helps secrete bile, and bile is a substance that goes into the body and into the digestive tract, and it helps emulsify fat. So it helps break down the fat, digest it, process it so it can be digested. And so your omega-3 fatty acids, all the things that fats are utilized in the body for, skin, hair, nails, hormone functions, everything. You're dealing with cholesterol production. When you're dealing with fats, not breaking them down is a big deal. And so when you remove the gallbladder, we still secrete the bile from the liver, but it's not as concentrated and it's not as directed and it's not as good. So the bile salts and that sort of thing tend to break down. So there's a couple things you want to do. First of all, you want to make sure that you support your gallbladder by taking L-taurine and glycine. Both of those are amino acids, and they're the two that form the bile salts in the body. The more bile salts you can form, the easier it is on the gallbladder to be able to break down fats and help utilize them. So if you get under a lot of stress, then glycine and taurine, the amino acids, get kind of chewed up in the body. They don't work as well. They're not as readily available. So again, stress plays a big role in the body, and we're seeing it just in this case when you're dealing with a gallbladder. There's a neurotransmitter too called acetylcholine. You're going to hear me talk about that a lot here on the show. But acetylcholine is the number one neurotransmitter that our body uses on a regular basis. Our brain chemistry, it's extremely important. When acetylcholine levels go down, gallbladder function goes down. It's directly correlated. So you want to keep your acetylcholine levels up. Meat, fish, eggs, those are all incredible for raising acetylcholine levels. And phosphatidylcholine, 2,000 milligrams before you go to bed, helps you go into a deep REM sleep, but it also raises your own acetylcholine levels and helps brain chemistry, but it also helps the gallbladder. So a couple things you can do, many things, to not have to get it taken out. You can also do about every 3 months, you can do a gallbladder liver flush. Very simple. It's in my book, Empowering Your Health. Easy to do. You want to juice organic apples to do this. And you can either blend them, juice them, however you want to do it. But you drink the apple juice mixed with water, half and half. You do that for 3 days, no food. And you can drink it every 15, 20 minutes, whatever you want to do. And then 3 hours before bed on the evening of the third day, you drink 4 ounces of extra virgin olive oil mixed with 4 ounces of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Let me tell you, it does not taste good, but it works. You can wake up the next morning, you'll have a bowel movement, be a lot of things come out, sludge and stones that'll come out from your gallbladder, and it's a great little thing to do on a semi-regular basis to keep your gallbladder cleaned out, flushed out. It's like using liquid Drano to keep everything clean in the gallbladder area. And remember, the gallbladder is very important for dealing with fats, and fats are so important for so many processes of the body. Keep that gallbladder at all cost. Questions about your health, 888-283-7272. Let's go to Rob. Hi, Rob. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me on. You offer a valuable service. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy. What's up?
Okay, I've got degrees in kinesiology and education. I've played professional soccer all my life. I started truck driving last year, and until last year I could eat and drink anything I wanted and never really had to worry about my weight. But now I'm up to 220, and I'm 6'2", 242, and I'm used to being between 170 and 190 as a soccer player. So I'm wondering what I can do to try and keep my weight down when I'm in this truck.
All right, how many hours a day are you driving? Is it 8-hour treks, 9, 10? How does that work for you?
11 to 14.
Okay, so you're going. How many days in a row will you take these trips?
5 to 6.
All right. Are you getting out and exercising every so often, or do you just go straight through and you're not exercising at all?
I do get out at the end of my day and generally go for 1 to 2 mile walk just to stretch out.
All right. Here's what I recommend for the guys and gals that are driving trucks when I talk to them. It's very good, even if you can pull over about and I know it's important because you're on a time schedule, but if you could go about every 4 hours and take a 15-minute walk somewhere, then that would be really good to do. That right there, and I mean a fast-paced walk where you're almost breaking a good sweat.
Sure.
That's important. Keeping the fluids up is going to be important, and but the constant exercise is going to be the biggest thing. That's the number one thing. And if you could carry some some TheraBands, things with you in the truck that you could actually do outside of your truck. I would hands down start doing that, because the sitting, they're even showing now, there's an article that came out and talking about sitting. So when you're at a desk job or you're driving in a truck or you have a driving job, whatever, the body doesn't handle sitting very well. And certain processes start happening to the nervous system and also the digestive system, that they're finding that there's more toxin release when you sit for long periods of time. And so it's just really important to get up and get moving at certain intervals when you're doing these long treks. It really is. So not just to keep your weight down, but for your overall health.
Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
To find out more, visit the show online, InShapeNetwork.com.
Lines are open, 888-283-7272. Welcome back to the show. Check out the website. Whatever you're struggling with, realize if the body can get sick, you can also get well. You can lifestyle your way into getting sick. You can also lifestyle your way out. It's true. The body changes every single day, and the choices that we make today can and will determine the kind of health we're going to have tomorrow. So the reality is it's all about the choices that we make each day. Going to the phones, let's talk with Donna. Hi, Donna.
I've been diagnosed with hyperparathyroidism, and they said they would have to remove it, so I was wondering, are there any alternatives?
Well, here's the thing. With the thyroid that you have to look at, one of the things you've got to look at is iodine, and having someone check you, getting some testing done for iodine levels is very, very important. The reason being is iodine is the number one trace mineral used by the thyroid, and the gland itself is extremely dependent on it. So we don't get it much in our diet. In the 80s, they took it out. They replaced it with bromide. So your doctors can run a simple little test, a urinalysis test, and they can see what your iodine levels are. Finding out what the iodine levels are will make a big, big difference. Okay, that's first and foremost. Then on the medication side, if you have to take meds, ask your doctor about Armour or Natrethroid. Both of those are really good. They support the thyroid gland, but they also push the thyroid to continue to make some of its own. And that's what I like about it. Plus, they're from a natural source, and the derivative is natural. So if your body can handle that and you do well with that, it's definitely a great way to go. I would look into that first and foremost to get a good game plan together. And then at that point, what you can do is, of course, if it's medically necessary that you have to do that, great. If not, then you can support it naturally. Now, don't forget about foods, okay? Foods support the thyroid gland really in every other system in the body, but your basic foods like your broccoli, cauliflower, and all the different cruciferous vegetables, if you have a slow thyroid, hypo, okay, hypo means low. If you have a slow thyroid at that point, then you have to be a little bit careful on that, because one thing you want to do and make sure is that you're eating the kind of foods that will support healthy thyroid function, and that's what I'll encourage you to do. is to look at that. And then, of course, things like coconut oil, which you cook with and you can put in your smoothies. Getting a couple tablespoons of that a day has been known and shown in studies to be supportive to the thyroid glands. All this great information is amazing. All right, gluten-free diets. That's another thing, by the way. Gluten-free, when the thyroid, typically can be very helpful. But gluten is a protein that's found in most grains, and we hear a lot about it now. Gluten-free this, gluten-free that. What does that even mean, gluten-free? Don't take away my bread. That's what I get I hit with all the time is don't take my bread away. Don't take the pasta away. For a period of time, it's good to cut those out. You don't have to cut it out completely. Going gluten-free does help in a lot of ways. But the encouraging piece of that I think is really important is getting to see if you're gluten sensitive or not. Now, if you're celiac and have celiac disease, then gluten can be a strong challenge to the body as a whole, and you really have to look at that. But again, if you're just gluten sensitive, then cutting out gluten altogether can help a host of issues. I mean, from fatigue to brain fog, all these kind of issues can be quite challenging. So looking at gluten and removing it can be helpful. But they're saying now that the long-term damage in the intestines could raise the risk of hip fractures in people with celiac disease, a new study says. So at the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, they were talking about gluten and people who ate it and how when they avoided it, it allowed their digestive tract to begin to heal. And they're saying now that the research confirmed that patients that had a higher rate of hip fractures when tissue damage persisted over time became quite the challenge. And sticking to a gluten-free diet is crucial, they said, for minimizing tissue damage and reducing the risk of serious fractures that could cause other complications. The celiac disease is an autoimmune disorder that affects about 1% of people in the United States. And it's known that people with celiac disease are at a heightened risk for broken bones, but it wasn't clear if their fracture risk remained high long after they began a gluten-free diet. So in the study, though, the physicians, they said they debated whether people with celiac disease actually benefit from follow-up in these sorts of things, but they're now finding that removing gluten as a whole for people that deal with any of these issues, especially with celiac disease, is of a great benefit. So, again, good information when you're dealing with something like this, because the challenge is with celiac disease so many times that people struggle. I mean, if you ever see someone that eats wheat or some kind of grain that has celiac, the cramping and the bloating and just the digestive-related challenges that go along with this can make them almost just deathly ill. So pulling them off of that, many doctors do, of course, and nutritionists will create little protocols and game plans for them, and they do quite well. It's fantastic to see. 888-283-7272. Now, if you're looking for a lifestyle provider, someone in your area that believes the same way we do, all this nutrition and lifestyle care that we talk about, you can go to our website, find out information there, and, of course, get the help that you need. The people that are struggling with whatever, and our providers that we're growing all around the country are able to help you with whatever you're struggling with. We're going to go now to Linda. Hi, Linda.
My daughter was diagnosed as having lupus. She also has rheumatoid arthritis. Her eyelashes came out first, and all of her hair has come out. She has terrible pain near the front of her eyes, and she can't hardly see at night now. They're supposed to do a CAT scan on her. She said she had sores in her head, and it just terrible pain near her eyes, and she said sometimes her nose bleeds.
Okay, well, if the nose is bleeding, and that's a bit of a challenge, one thing I would encourage you to do, for the most part, is as the doctors are going through and they're looking at everything that you have, and of course, she actually, they've got all the tests and they're looking through that. If she has lupus, depending on the severity of it, and again, with what you're telling me, if that's the case and that's all documented in her chart and whatnot, they have to come up medically with a pretty solid game plan for that. From a natural perspective, lowering the inflammation in the body is going to be a big key for her and a big help. She's got to get a nutritionist or someone to coach her along the way in this. Because with autoimmune disease like lupus, there's the theory that, it can be on, a light switch can be on full power and the lights are really bright in the room, or you can turn it all the way down on the dimmer switch and really affect these sorts of things. So I would encourage you, as you look through that, to really look at some of the natural ways to support her and talk to her about it. I mean, if she's not willing to change her diet and not willing to change her lifestyle choices, then nothing's going to help. But she has to have someone to get in there radically with her and make some changes, and she's got to be willing to go completely probably opposite of how she's been living, because lupus is no joke. And as she's seeing, and the symptoms can be very severe depending on her situation. So I would encourage her first to get on a low inflammatory based diet, focus on that, follow that, and get someone to guide her in that. I think it's going to be one of her best weapons in a health challenge like this, is to take responsibility herself, which, I mean, that's what the doctors and the providers, they can't do. They really can't jump in and make any of these changes. I mean, she has to do that. So one of the challenges, and one thing I would encourage you to do in this, is to really make sure that she does get to a place where she takes responsibility and she kind of changes her outlook, and get a good team around her. That's going to be quite helpful. All right, 888-283-7272. Lines are open with questions about your health. Give me a call or go online, go to the website. Whatever you're struggling with, realize that the body can get sick. It can also get well. Our food for the day we're going to talk about is oregano. And oregano is really, really amazing. Now, I like it because you can get it in the oil, which really doesn't taste that great, but it's powerful in what it does. And then, of course, you can get the herbs and the flakes and whatnot. It'd be very, very helpful. So if you've ever seen that, they're loaded as being an antibacterial. They're great at that. So Pseudomonas and Staphylococcus bacteria, they're fantastic, documented research on how they can kill and just remove those bad bacteria. And also, actually, they did studies, researchers found that it was more effective with Giardia. So, when you go down to Mexico, the whole Giardia, which is so dangerous to get, they're saying now that their oil of oregano can be more effective than the most commonly prescribed prescription drugs. So that's think about that. And it's all natural, and it's everything that we get from our foods. So the other one is it's got a lot of antioxidant activity. So thymol and rosmarinic acid have been shown to create a function with potent antioxidants that can really help BHTs and BHAs and really remove a lot of the oxidation that happens within the cells. So they're really good at that. And, of course, as a nutrient-dense spice, they're loaded with fiber. So if you do the flakes and put them in your foods, they're loaded with fiber and can help with the colon. And also, they're saying, can help clear a lot of the cancer-causing toxins and bile salts out of the colon as well. So a couple things to think about. Food of the day, oregano, something great to spice up your foods. And also, if you want to use the oil as well, it's a great kind of alternative to support your immune system along the way. Coming up, more information about your health. We're going to go back to the phones. We see you there. Don't go anywhere. And also send me an email if you need to, right there at the website.
Want to turn back the clock 15 years and have more energy? This is Dr. Raisa telling you to just breathe with LiveO2. LiveO2 delivers the right amount of oxygen we need for optimal health. Go to liveO2.com. That's liveO2.com.
Connect with On Call Radio and watch On Call TV at InShapeNetwork.com.
If the body can get sick, it can also get well. So remember, it's all about choices that we make every single day. The choices we make today can and will determine the kind of health we're going to have tomorrow. And they got these things called smart contact lenses, and of course they're saying now they can measure blood sugar levels in diabetics. So Google is actually working on these smart contact lenses that would measure blood sugar glucose levels in the tears of people with diabetes. If successful, the contacts would offer diabetics a painless and more convenient alternative to having to prick themselves to get blood to put in the test strips, and they're an electronic reader that can collect the data. The prototype contact lenses have minuscule wireless chips, and the glucose sensors are able to measure the sugar levels per second. The LED lights inside the lenses would also flash when the sugar levels are too low. Now, Google has conducted clinical research studies on the contact lenses and is in discussions with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. They're saying now that this isn't the first attempt to develop such a device. In 2011, Microsoft teamed with the University of Washington to create contact lenses with glucose sensors to really be able to monitor these and make things a little bit easier for everyone along the way. Let's go to Frank now on the lines. Hi, Frank.
I have a question regarding prostate care, and I was wondering if you could get some information for me about that.
Yeah, prostate is, obviously it's a growing concern for guys, and the younger generation guys are actually getting diagnosed with benign prostatic hypertrophy, the BPH, and it's pretty common, but, there's a lot of great natural solutions for that you really can do to support good prostate health. Number one is eating an avocado on a regular basis. Now, if you've got BPH and your doctor's got you on a round of antibiotics, obviously you want to stick to that. If you're wanting to figure out good ways to support prostate health, go look at some of the research on avocados. There's a component in there called beta-cytosterol, and it's been shown in studies to be very helpful at supporting good prostate health. The other one to be looked at is also nettle root. Nettle root is great for blocking the DHT. It's got similar mechanisms of what a lot of the mainstream medications like the Proscar will do as far as supporting the blocking of the dihydrotestosterone. And then there's some other great ones out there that you can look at, like pumpkin seed oil, saw palmetto. They can all be very helpful just to support it. Again, this is not some cure. It's just things you can do in your diet that are foods that are supportive for good prostate health. And again, take a peek at that, and that should be able to help you along the way. 888-283-7272. A lot of muscle-building exercises, they're saying now, can reduce women's diabetes. So lifting weights and other muscle-building workouts reduce women's risk of diabetes, according to a new study. The researchers analyzed data collected from nearly 100,000 U.S. nurses over 8 years and found that those that lifted weights and did press-ups or similar resistance workouts were less likely to develop type 2 diabetes. And this was from the BBC News. But compared with inactive women, those who did at least 150 minutes of aerobic activity and at least an hour of muscle strength training a week were a third less likely to develop diabetes. And it was already known that regular aerobic workouts can help prevent type 2 diabetes, and previous studies have shown that muscle-building exercises protect men against the diabetes as well. So weight training as a whole has been known to be quite helpful. It supports, I'm just a big fan. Type 2 diabetes, with our obesity rates in America specifically, and people being overweight, has just skyrocketed, and I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of seeing people getting sick, and it just gets old. Like, we're getting bigger, we're getting fatter, people are just getting sick, they don't feel good. It's time to make a change. Now, the thing is, I can tell you what to do, but you have to do it yourself. With diabetes, I'm telling you, exercising and doing some type of resistance exercise. I don't care if it's the bands, you want to get an exercise video, something really helps the body. The more muscle mass you can increase, the better you can stabilize your blood sugar levels in the body. And of course, that comes with not only just exercising, but eating well. You have to make sure you eat the right kind of foods on a regular basis. So our eating habits really do matter, and making sure that we get the right kind of foods in on a regular basis. Equal amounts of lean protein sources like chicken, fish, beef, or eggs, low glycemic carbohydrates in the form of fruits and vegetables, and then our healthy fats, your almonds, your walnuts, your cashews, your avocados. Eating these kind of foods on a regular basis only is going to help your overall system as far as living the kind of life and the freedom you deserve, living the kind of health that you need, because you don't have to be stuck where you are. You can really come out of it. Email came in. Wendy in Buffalo, New York says that over the last year I've been walking and eating healthy, and I want to start working out with weights but never have before, what's a good way to get started? Well, on the weight training, I like to get a trainer. I think most people should get one, even if it's just for the first month, even if you just go meet with them once or twice a week. Because if you don't have a good knowledge of free weights and the machines and all that, they can really help guide you, teach you some basic routines, modify your routines, and get you to hit the goals and the results that you're looking for. And that's really the ultimate key. It's to get your body in a situation where it's balanced and making sure that you get the foods that you need. Of course, someone like a nutritionist or a lifestyle coach can help you with that. But the exercise, I think it's really important to have someone guide you so you have good form, you don't get hurt, and you learn the differences with the tempos and how fast you need to work out and how slow you need to rest and all that sort of thing, because all of that matters in getting results. There's such a science to exercise, fitness, and weight training. I mean, it is very, very detailed. And the more you can have someone walk with you in that, the better results you're going to get. And then you can do it on your own, and you'll be fine. But you just need a coach in the beginning of it. Puts another hour in the charts. I want to thank our producer, Jay Patrick, engineer John Garrison, and the rest of the team. Go tell one person something you learned on this show, and together we can change the health of our friends, our families, and our communities. You're listening to the show that helps you get well, stay well, and live well.
Listen to the ASA RX audio experience on Spotify and Pandora. For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience.
Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
This episode is over, but check episode notes for links to products and services you've heard about on this episode. Thanks for listening and subscribing. Please share the ASA RX audio experience with others and stay in touch by giving us your comment or review.